Good evening. I'd like to call the East China Towship Board meeting for March 20th of 2023 to order, please. Clerk, please call the roll.
Supervisor Westra?
Here.
Clerk Matei here. Treasurer Hart?
Here.
Trustee Babel?
Here.
Trustee Blackstock?
Here.
Trustee Knott?
Here.
Trustee Richley?
Here. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next is to approve the agenda for this evening. There's C3 under consent agenda, which I passed out, the NPDES, the MS4 2022 update you have in front of you. And also I'd like to add an MB4 discussion of our painters that we hired are finishing up in the front this week, and we talked a little bit about this boardroom, so maybe we can have a discussion on that if we want to do any work in this boardroom while they're here. So with those two items, I entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Been moved, Mr. Richley, support by Ms. Hart. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approve the minutes from the last meeting. Questions, comments? If not,
Make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Mr. Richley.
I support.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Presentations, guest speakers, none. Let's see, nobody for public comment. Consent agenda. C1, the financial reports which are attached to the packet here. C2 is our historical commission minutes from February of 2023. And C3, the NPDES MS4 2022 update. Comments, questions on that?
Question. In reviewing the revenue expenditure report, I noticed that the supervisor's office, clerk's office, treasurer, parks, building manager, the IT budget is gone, and it's only February. All used up. What's going on?
We have moved that to a general umbrella.
You know, it shows in here as I'm reading, it looks like expenditures. What you're telling me it's just been moved?
Reallocated to the IT. In front of me, what you see is
One pot instead of many.
under data processing technology, 101-228-802.
Okay, and you just scarfed up the money from all the other places to fund that account.
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? If not, entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Support.
Clerk, support by Mr. Richley. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Disbursements. Start.
We have disbursements, payroll, $33,184.45. Accounts payable, $162,472.99. EFTs, $11,779.68. E-checks at $302.30. And tax disbursements of $19,392.10. And total invoices, $208,656.75, for a grand total of $435,788.27. I'll make a motion to pay the bills in that total amount.
I'll second.
Thank you. It's been moved by Ms. Hart, supported by Mr. Knotts. Clerk, please call the roll.
Roll call, Trustee Babel?
Yes.
Trustee Blackstock?
Yes.
Trustee Knott?
Yes.
Trustee Richley?
Yes.
Treasurer Hart?
Yes.
Clerk Matei, yes. Supervisor Westra?
Yes. Thank you. Unfinished old business, we have none. New business, number 1, modification to lift station SCADA system. We had a close call here recently with the both pumps failing at the hospital lift station. And didn't really know about it until it backed up to the Bree Road station. So our DPW supervisor is going to get some equipment to alert us in case that happens again, which is what we have a proposal here for. The Michigan Industrial Controls, who does a lot of our controls on our pump stations. Cost is $3,661.89, and I make a motion that we approve that as presented.
Support.
Moved and supported by Mr. Knotts. Is there any other discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Roll call vote. Trustee Richley?
Yes.
Trustee Knotts?
Yes.
Trustee Blackstock?
Yes.
Trustee Babel?
Yes.
Treasurer Hart?
Yes.
Clerk Matei, yes. Supervisor Rustrick?
Yes. Thank you. New business 2, the Township Properties Lawn Care Contract 2023. I received a call from Kevin's Lawn Care about what we're doing for this, and talked to the DPW supervisor. He's happy with the services that were provided last year. They were willing to extend it this year for no cost increase. Therefore, I make a motion that we approve the contract for Kevin's for this year at the same cost as last year. There's a change attached that we have. Where are you with it? Right here. We'll just authorize the township manager to go ahead and execute that on our behalf. It's an extension agreement for the 2023 season. I make a motion to approve that.
Support.
Mr. Richley, right?
Yep.
Okay, it's been moved and supported. Comments or questions? They also renewed the one at the parks as well. So. Okay, we need to
Roll
roll
call
call.
vote. Yep. Clerk Matei, yes. Treasurer Hart?
Yes.
Trustee Babel?
Yes.
Trustee Blackstock?
Yes.
Trustee Knotts?
Yes.
Trustee Richley?
Yes.
Supervisor Rustrick?
Yes. Thank you. New business 3, the cemetery ordinance amendments. There's the draft.
I voted for this. You said that, these are,
Pardon me?
I know I voted for this, but if you add up, a lot of these charges aren't even, they're weekly or by use. Has anybody added this up, and is it really worth our while to do this rather than hiring somebody? Like we used to have a part-time employee that did all
Well, we
this.
tried last year, remember, we couldn't find anybody to even come work for us.
I'm just saying, I'm not surprised you extended this, this is pretty good numbers.
Yeah, and it's on an as-needed basis that, you know, if they skip someplace that doesn't get charged that week or whatever,
Okay.
but. New business 3, the cemetery ordinance amendments are in front of you. There's a draft of recommended changes. There's some highlighted ones in italic, there's a new verbiage, there's some lined out stuff. Everybody get a chance to review this?
I got just one, I did review it, I have one comment, I normally don't, let folks that do this don't worry about it, but they're very specific about having flowers around the graves. It has to be the approved pole, it has to, and it occurred to me after visiting my parents and their in-laws' graves, the tombstones that they have, you have the tombstone, but it's still on a mount, another rock,
Right.
and it's, you know, about that high, and is longer than the tombstone is wide. And on the ends of each of the tombstones is permanently attached to that is a vase. And you can put like flowers, or artificial flowers is what we use
Right.
in that. It's not on the ground, it doesn't affect them away, it's just right up against. The way this is written appears to prohibit that, and I would think we ought to allow something like that. I wouldn't be surprised, I didn't go walking through the cemetery, but I wouldn't be surprised if we have some in our cemetery already that have those permanent bases up on the, it's actually part of the tombstone, it's a big base of the tombstone.
There are the flowers mentioned in here, Ralph, do you remember?
Well, we're trying to get everything into conform with all the, when they pour the foundation, and everything is supposed to be the same, and even the headstones have to be a certain measurement. And we're trying to clean it up, and so that there isn't a whole bunch of things all around the grave sites and all that. It's very difficult for the lawnmowers to go around everything. And, but like Ralph said, if they're already something like that, I can't imagine that they would make them remove it. you know, if it's permanent at this point. Going forward, we want to have everything looking nice and everything, so.
When you go to any cemetery, you'll see these, they're quite common. I mean, it's not that unusual, but if it's a permanent part of the tombstone that doesn't touch the ground,
Well, that's what I'm saying, you know, if it's already been implemented into,
I mean,
into that.
for future, somebody
But
else
going
might wanna
forward,
do
we're not
something
gonna do
like
that.
too.
Yeah.
It does say in a township approved stand, so they could deem that that's a township approved stand if they have those, like Ralph's saying, right?
I think they're
Don't
trying to get
modify
away
this.
from.
We're trying to get away from that.
Is it?
Yeah, they're trying to be all one size base, you know, so that when we, uniform, yes, so that when they come in, they don't have to have any questions about how big to size it up and that, so,
They just want to try and get it uniform, I understand.
yeah.
And are the new plant stands that they're ordering going to be inserted into the foundation? as
There
well?
is a permanent hole.
That is where that will be,
Yeah,
okay.
mhm. Yeah,
So a designated spot for it.
right,
Okay.
absolutely.
Can I answer your question? Well,
Well, I'd just like to make sure that that's allowed in our township.
It's
They
not
can
going to
say
be going
one-
forward.
One pot and township approved stand may be maintained, and put another sentence in there that says, yeah, or including urns, vases, however you call them, that are permanently attached to the tombstone.
But there's not going to be any more of that.
Why not?
That's just the way that,
We're the ones that change this.
yeah. I don't know how to,
I don't know, though, how you would enforce ones that are already there.
that's what I'm saying, the ones that are already there, you're not going to chip them off and.
That's been going
you
on
know,
for years
yeah.
and years and years. You're always gonna have some that are gonna still use those, because that's what they've always had, and then the new ones going
Right.
forward could use the new stuff, but
I might want to do
they're
that.
still intermingled within the whole cemetery, the new and
Mm-hmm.
the old. You're never gonna have,
Oh,
you know what I mean?
absolutely, yeah.
So it's
Well, that's just like a
be
lot of
hard to
the,
enforce.
a lot of the stones aren't regulation size that we're trying to get everything
I mean, I
in.
could see if there was like a new section to the cemetery that you were trying to, you know,
Mhm.
enforce that in, but when you have it all mixed together, it's kind of hard.
yeah,
Yeah,
there's no language in here that's being omitted that allowed it before, so you probably would still be able to keep it there.
It says under D that they're grandfathered in.
yeah.
It does.
Yeah, should any monument or memorial, including any monument or
Right.
memorial that was in place before this chapter became effective, well, that says that it's become unsightly, you gotta repair it.
Gotcha. Okay, well, that covers it then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We recognize the intent of it, but
I have one other question too, on that same page going down under 195-9A. You're not allowing, I guess, a husband and a wife to be buried in the same plot? According to this now?
If you've only got one
Next to each other's
site
fine, not on
next
top
to
of
each other, yeah.
But I mean, like one and then a cremain?
Double
maybe?
D.
You can do that. It states that farther down. That,
Because it says except for a parent and infant child or two children. And then it says burial sites, and then it just says one coffin, one.
It says those are allowed though, the following
Yeah.
burial combination.
Yeah.
Right, but it doesn't, it just says only one person shall be buried. Oh, okay. So that's just talking about not cremains, that's just buried.
Mm-hmm,
Okay.
yeah.
We don't do double graves?
No,
no, they're not big enough. You'd have to stack them.
Yes, that's exactly what they do.
Kinda-
That's exactly what they call them, double Ds.
We don't do those,
no.
never have. Not
I mean,
since,
it's done at the National
maybe
Cemetery.
before
all
my
the-
time.
It's done at the National
Not since
Cemetery all the time.
2016.
In fact, if the service member's wife dies first,
2006.
and they want to do that, he has to agree to be buried in the cemetery, and they'll bury her first, but it's in the same grave, 2 deep.
Wow.
They do them all that way. And the tombstone is, well, not, you'll
Double.
see both names on it.
Right, wow.
I mean, it's not something difficult to do unless can't go that deep here, I don't know why
We've
not.
never had.
I don't care.
Never
Not
done
here.
that. You can have two
I
cremains
think our water
on a
table's
site.
pretty high, actually.
Yeah.
Because I know there's a corner in the
Yeah.
back that gets flooding by the woods back there. Is
Just
that
because it can't drain.
an issue?
Mhm.
Well,
It's all clay
maybe
over there.
maybe that's part of it.
Yeah. You can put two cremains in a site, but,
Right.
yeah, not a full burial, coffin burial.
But you gotta cremate one of them,
Yeah.
Mhm.
preferably after he's dead.
Let's hope so.
Preferably.
Terrible. Any other questions or comments? If not, entertain a motion from this, or
I'll make a motion to, actually, this would be the first reading.
What I was gonna suggest is, this is just for you to suggest any changes or alterations, and if you're good with how it's written, it should be reviewed by our attorney before we move on.
Okay.
Okay, so first reading at the next meeting then?
Unless that vase is permanently attached to the tombstone.
That's
Do not-
covered though in D
That do
already.
not affect the
Well, not new ones.
Not, we,
mowing.
we aren't allowing new ones because the bases are gonna be one regulation size. So there's not gonna be room to have a permanent vase on each side of
We
the
pour our own
marker.
foundations and create those,
But
so
I
if they're
mean,
not,
if you can find a tombstone that meets our dimensions and has a flower pot on it, what's to stop them doing it?
Well, yeah,
right.
that's fine, but,
I mean,
But I think the flower pot's usually in the foundation, not on the,
I'm
not,
sure
right?
enough money they'll put a flower pot on the tombstone.
yeah.
how you'd attach that though.
I mean, that's the way the tombstones are sold. You haven't got, you guys, I was even checking around, I go look at them. I mean, that's the kind of tombstones that's the way they sell them. The big. the
Get
big- the thing I
accessories
call
now
a
for your
base, which is-
tombstone.
Which is about.
What
a foot
accessories
high.
would you like?
options you can do.
Okay.
You know, it's not that difficult, though.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'll make a motion that we move forward for a
With
first,
these changes,
first reading at the next meeting, after the attorney's review,
as presented.
Second.
as presented. I do have one more question, quickly. Is someone going to, like, are we gonna have to pre-approve when people are ordering their headstones now? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What if the headstone comes and it doesn't meet the? You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
that's why they're given
They're given.
they're given the
given
rules and
requirements,
regulations
yeah.
and everything, and it's kind of up to, well, them to go by these, and the undertaker and everything, everybody at the funeral home usually, they'll let you know what our regulations are too, because they know. And most of the people that dig the foundations and do everything for our township, they know all the, regulations too, so.
Well, our DPW digs the foundations.
Yeah,
and
that's
pours
true,
them.
yeah.
Right.
Okay, well, it's been moved, is there support for this?
I do.
AL supported.
Okay. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Thank you. New business 4, which I just wanted to add on here. The painters have done a nice job, they're moving along, they should be done by the end of the week with our offices there. Removing the wallpaper and painting and patching and whatnot. They have done a nice job. We were talking here last week when we were in this room, they had some materials they had in here, and we moved it out, but about painting this room, updating this room. I asked them to give us a quote, it was $1,800 to repaint this entire room. and remove the base, as you see, with all the wax and everything built up on it, and put new base on. We have to buy the base, I'll have DPW buy the base and the glue for it, but that was the labor to remove and replace the base, and the labor and materials to paint the whole room, whatever color you decide. And that's strictly up to you guys, and Sandy used it for elections, so they're here, they can do the work while they're here. It's strictly whatever you guys think.
It's probably been at least 10 years since we've done it.
They gave
I
us some
really-
price for the lobby, that doesn't look bad in my opinion, that's a darker base, that looks fine. But it's up to you whether you want them to do the work in here.
This base looks pretty bad.
I think it would be nice to update it, then the whole building would be done.
Yeah, everything else seems to look fine in here. I mean, anybody else got any comments or what?
I mean, the
Just-
ceiling's kind of.
The base, that's included in the $1,800?
Yeah, that's the labor for the base. We have to have Blaine go buy it, which would be maybe a couple $100 or something.
Okay.
It's not a lot for the base. And
My
so-
only concern is if we go to potentially add on or something, like, that's probably not gonna happen within the next few years, right?
Yeah, we're adding on to the other end of the building too.
Okay.
Not in here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And we're gonna, I would recommend we use a darker base, a
Yeah,
black or something.
yes, I was just gonna say
It'll
that,
just get-
to match the other.
Yeah, it
Right.
this
Yeah.
light stuff, that's wax that's on there.
Yeah.
Right.
So if we do add on, it's on the other side. So-
At the end of the
Okay,
office,
okay.
down there, yep,
Okay.
yep. And we didn't
That was my
replace
only
those
concern.
2 windows because of that reason. We didn't want to spend the money on new windows, and then if we do the addition next year voluntarily, we'd waste the money on them, so we just held off on those 2. But the rest of the windows are all done and completed.
And DPW did an awesome job retrimming the windows, and the painters are doing a wonderful job in the office.
Yeah, so it's coming along nice.
Very efficient.
What do you guys think?
I would like to see it done.
Would it all be in one color? like,
What, 1,800?
Well, that's up to you guys, whatever you want. But the colors, I mean, we got the blue behind us and the white now, but whatever you come up with as a consensus is fine with me.
Well, that color that's coming through the whole office matches the carpet quite well, and that dark blue base, if we pulled that all the way through, I think it'd be a nice,
Think it'd be a little too dark for the whole room or not?
no, it's not dark.
Would you say they went for painting?
Pardon me?
Would you say they wanted for doing this?
They want, it was $1,800 for labor, materials for all of it,
Okay, thank you.
and the labor for the base. We just have to buy the base, whatever the cost is.
Okay.
I'll
Is that-
make a motion, we move forward with,
The change order for the painters to do this room.
yes, additional 1,800 to do all the work in this room.
Support.
Okay, been moved and supported. Any
Um,
other questions or comments on it?
Yeah, did we add this as a new business?
I put it
item?
in a new business for
We
it, right?
did
Okay. I didn't remember it.
C3 and NB4.
Clerk, please call the roll for that.
Okay, roll call vote. Clerk Matei, yes. Treasurer Hart?
No.
Trustee Babel?
Yes.
Trustee Blackstock?
Yes.
Trustee Knotts?
Yes.
Trustee Richley?
Yes.
Supervisor Westrick?
Yes. Motion carried, thank you. Our city will advise him, you want to use the same color?
Sure, I think
Okay.
it's a good neutral color.
10-4. Announcements, member comments from anyone? Yes,
Member question. So,
that's in the next one, you gotta wait.
so has there been any discussion with the park commission about, one of the things that we, passed previously about the park manager or about the policy thing?
Township manager maybe can speak to that?
I have not had any replies from them.
Okay,
Okay?
okay. All right, that's all I got.
How about down here? I have one comment. When I was here last week, we were working with the painters and whatnot. It was really cold in the back, and come to find out, one of the furnaces quit back there. So I called Aller, a guy that does the work, and I guess they just repaired the other furnace week before that, make the noise went out. So they had him come out to take a look at this one, and so I went snooping, and all 3 furnaces, I looked at them, they're 1993, they are 30 years old. The humidifier systems don't work on them anymore. A lot of the parts are becoming hard to get, and the efficiencies are, 30 years old. And same thing on the air conditioning systems. So We talked a little bit with our supervisor at the DPW about maintenance schedules and whatnot, but in my opinion, instead of throwing $500 here and $800 there and $1,000 away on furnaces, it's time to, we need to update those. If you want, we can get some bids on that, get some prices.
Right, yes, I think we should. Even if we did one each year for the next
Yeah.
couple, over the next couple?
Yeah, I think it'd be best to do them all. That way there, you know, the date's the same on all of them, and then, you know, it's a little more, probably a little more cost effective to have them come do them all at once.
What would that do with adding on?
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe that.
That would have to need its own furnace again,
Oh,
not a
okay.
system, because it's separated. Otherwise, you can't control the differences in the rooms. But they're all 30 years old. They're carriers.
Mhm.
I don't know how many service calls we've had on them, but I know we just had 2
Not that,
on one in each one of those furnaces.
been pretty good to us.
You know, if you're thinking about, if we are thinking about an addition, one of the furnaces could be, the one that's farthest back, that could be sized to handle what it's doing now and the addition, rather than buying 4 furnaces.
Right.
I think that we probably could do that, because that last furnace in there does serve the back half from that in the hallways
You might
at.
have to size it appropriately, but I
Right.
don't see that.
Except that's the one
Good
that's
thing.
not working right now, right?
Well, it's working, we had to get it fixed.
Oh, okay.
The code, I read the code on it, it was a.
Because I know there is a way to
an ignition
zone
problem, which
things
probably
too. We've got
not
4 zones at our
That
house
might be
with
a
one
rather large
furnace.
number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How does that do in the budget?
We've got the money for it, because he already gave me a price to replace those 3 while he was here. Well, he sent it to us later, but we'll wait till.
Maybe
Well, we're almost through the winter anyway. It's not like we
We'll
have
get
to
the
get it
prices
till
and
next
go
fall.
for it.
Yeah.
It's not a huge thing right now. I mean, if they came back and, he also said the heat exchangers are starting to rust, which means the actins start rotting through, and then you get carbon monoxide,
You
so.
also mentioned in there in passing air conditioning. You plan on doing the whole thing?
What's that?
You also mentioned quickly in passing the word air conditioning. Are you planning on doing the whole thing?
They would do them all, they would replace them all at the same time. Yeah.
What does that do to your price? Quite a bit, probably.
We'll see what we get.
I don't wanna share that, because we're gonna get prices, bids out there, but he did send us a quote for that, and I was actually surprised at the cost of it. It wasn't, nowhere near what I thought.
Okay, well, I'd be interested in quote. I'd also be interested in where we're gonna get the money from. That's
Yeah.
okay.
Based on that number, we have the money. We'd have to use, our capital money for updating, but they're 30 years old. It just came to me when we were doing it last week, and we had this, so we can get prices. And it's not something we have to jump on immediately, but, we can find the money in the budget to do it, but if it's okay with the board, we'll go ahead and get some prices from some contractors to do that.
Doesn't hurt to get prices.
No.
And you have information.
Do we need approval for that at the board level, or do we get prices?
No, see quotes,
All right, well, we'll do it.
put an ad out.
That's all I had. Anybody else? If not,
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Support.
been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.